Did you shed tears over Stefan's devotion or swoon at Damon's intensity? The Delena versus Stelena debate wasn't just a ship war, it was an emotional roller coaster for millions of us. One that played out in late-night binges, text threads with friends, and even quiet moments where we rewinded a scene just to feel that spark again. Join us as we unpack the undeniable chemistry and the gut-wrenching choices that made the Vampire Diaries love triangle truly unforgettable. Which side were you on? Let's start with Stefan Salvatore, the good brother, the one who showed up in Mystic Falls with a quiet resolve to leave his dark past behind. Remember that first moment he locked eyes with Elena in the town square? It wasn't just a meet-cute, it was a promise. He hid his fangs, his hunger, his history of ripper violence, all to be the kind of guy who'd bring her coffee in the morning, who'd walk her home after a vampire attack. Ironic, right? Who'd stand between her and every monster that came for her, even if that monster was his own brother. Think about season 2, when Klaus threatened to kill Elena unless Stefan turned off his humanity and became a ripper again. Stefan didn't hesitate. He let the darkness take over, let himself become the thing he hated most, just to keep her alive. And when he finally broke free, he didn't beg for her forgiveness. He just said, "I did what I had to do." That's the kind of devotion that sticks with you. It's not flashy, it's the quiet, "I'll burn for you so you don't have to" kind of love. For so many of us, Stefan was the safe choice, but safe never felt so brave. We cried when he left town to protect her from his past. We held our breath when he drank human blood again to save her from a werewolf bite. We felt his pain when he realized Elena's heart was starting to split, because he knew he couldn't compete with the chaos that was Damon. Then there's Damon, the bad brother, the one who crashed into Mystic Falls with a smirk and a bottle of bourbon, determined to mess with his brother's newfound happiness. At first, he was everything Stefan wasn't. Reckless, unapologetic, willing to use Elena to get what he wanted. Remember when he compelled her to forget their kiss? But here's the thing about Damon. His intensity wasn't just anger or arrogance. It was a mask. Think about season 3, when Elena was dying from a vampire bite, and Damon sat by her bed, feeding her his blood even though he knew it meant she'd become a vampire. He didn't tell her he did it. He just walked away, because he didn't want her to owe him. Or season 4, when Elena turned, and Damon was the only one who didn't try to fix her. He taught her to hunt, to control her hunger, to stop apologizing for being a monster. He said, "You're not broken, Elena. You're just different." That's the magic of Damon. He saw the parts of her no one else did, the parts she was scared to show, and he loved them anyway. We swooned when he whispered, "I love you, Elena," and it's not because of the sire bond. It's because of you. We screamed when he sacrificed himself to save her from the travelers. We ached for him when he stood by her side, even after she chose Stefan, because he'd rather be her friend than lose her completely. Damon wasn't the safe choice. He was the "I'll fight for you even if you don't choose me" kind of love, and that's impossible to ignore. The debate wasn't just about Stefan versus Damon. It was about the parts of ourselves we saw in Elena. Who hasn't stood at a crossroads, torn between the love that feels like home and the love that feels like adventure? Stefan was the comfort of a familiar song, the warmth of a blanket on a cold night. Damon was the first drop of rain in a drought, the thrill of a car ride with the windows down. Elena didn't just choose between two brothers. She chose between two versions of love, two versions of herself. When she told Stefan, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore," it wasn't a betrayal. It was growth. When she told Damon, "I can't imagine my life without you," it wasn't a mistake. It was honesty. And that's why we cared so much. This love triangle wasn't about drama for drama's sake. It was about real, messy, human feelings. Even if the people feeling them were vampires, we all have our moment. That sealed the deal. Maybe it was Stefan carrying Elena out of the burning Gilbert house, his face covered in ash but his grip on her never loosening. Maybe it was Damon dancing with Elena in the rain, their laughter mixing with the thunder, like the world around them didn't exist. For some, it was the scene where Stefan let Elena go, telling her, "If you love him, then choose him." For others, it was Damon saying, "I'd rather die than be without you." These moments didn't just happen on screen, they became part of our lives. We quoted them in text messages. We made them our phone backgrounds. We talked about them like we'd been there, like we knew exactly how it felt to love someone so much it hurt. The Delena versus Stelena debate might have ended when the show did, but the feelings, they're still there. Because the Vampire Diaries didn't just give us a love triangle, it gave us a mirror. It showed us that love isn't always easy, that choosing someone doesn't mean the other choice was wrong, and that both devotion and intensity have their place in our hearts. So let's ask again, which side were you on? Were you Team Stefan, the one who loved quietly and fiercely, who put Elena's happiness above his own? Or Team Damon, the one who loved loudly and recklessly, who taught Elena to embrace her darkness? Maybe you were like me, swinging back and forth, crying for Stefan one episode and swooning for Damon the next. And that's okay, because the best part of this debate wasn't picking a side, it was feeling something real, something that stayed with us long after the final credits rolled. At the end of the day, the Vampire Diaries wasn't just about vampires or witches or werewolves. It was about love, all kinds of love. The quiet kind, the messy kind, the kind that makes you cry, the kind that makes you swoon, the kind that you'll never forget. And whether you were Delena or Stelena, we all got to be part of that journey. We all got to feel it. And that's why we're still talking about it years later. That's why this love triangle will always be unforgettable. Remember the first time you met the Salvatore brothers? It was a night in Mystic Falls. Maybe you were curled up on the couch, snacks in hand, not yet knowing how deeply those two vampires would burrow into your heart. Stefan, with his quiet smile and that old leather jacket, pouring a drink at the grill like he belonged there, like he wasn't hiding a century of pain behind his eyes. Then Damon, crashing through the door with a smirk sharper than his fangs, bourbon in one hand and a quip on his tongue, turning Stefan's quiet evening into something electric. That moment wasn't just a first meeting. It was the start of a debate that would follow us long after the final episode aired. A debate that wasn't just about which brother Elena should choose, but about the kind of love we crave, the kind of person we want to be, and the messy, beautiful choices that make love feel real. The Delena versus Stelena split wasn't just a ship war. Let's be honest, it was never that shallow. It was a clash of two fundamental ideals of love, wrapped up in fangs and vervain and the small-town chaos of Mystic Falls. On one side, Stefan, the brother who fought tooth and nail to be good. His love for Elena was a promise of redemption for himself, first, but for her too. He wanted to shield her from the darkness, to keep her human, to give her the quiet life he'd never had. Think back to season 1, when he revealed his true self to her in the woods, his eyes dark with hunger but his voice steady. I don't want to hurt you. I never will. He spent years suppressing his ripper instincts, drinking animal blood even when it left him weak, all because he believed Elena deserved a love that didn't put her in danger. His love was the kind that whispered, I'll fix myself for you. It was safe, yes, but it was also brave in its own quiet way. It was the kind of love that makes you believe people can change, that pain doesn't have to define you. On the other side, Damon, the brother who refused to apologize for being bad. His love for Elena wasn't about redemption, it was about acceptance. He didn't want to fix her or shield her from the dark. He wanted to stand with her in it. Remember season 4, when Elena turned into a vampire and everyone else? Stefan, Bonnie, even Jeremy tried to save her from her new self? Damon was the one who said, you don't need to be saved. You just need to learn how to live. He taught her to hunt, to laugh at the chaos, to stop feeling guilty for the parts of herself that weren't human anymore. His love was the kind that roared, I love you exactly as you are, scars, fangs, and all. It was reckless, sure, but it was also honest. It was the kind of love that makes you realize you don't have to shrink yourself to be loved, that your darkness is just as worthy of care as your light. We're not just rewatching scenes here, we're deconstructing the very essence of why these relationships captivated us. Because it wasn't just about the drama, the vampire attacks, the sire bonds, the doppelganger twists. It was about how much we saw of ourselves in Elena's choice. Maybe you leaned into Stelena because you've been the one trying to fix someone, or the one hoping someone would fix you. Maybe you cried when Stefan left town to protect Elena because you've walked away from something good to keep someone safe. Or maybe Delena spoke to you because you felt like the broken one, the one who thought no one could love you without wanting to change you. Maybe you swooned when Damon danced with Elena in the rain because you've craved a love that doesn't care about the mess, that just wants to be with you. Take that iconic season 3 scene when Elena is dying from a werewolf bite and both brothers are there, fighting to save her. Stefan is frantic, searching for a cure, willing to trade his own life if it means she lives. Damon, though? He sits by her bed, silent, feeding her his blood in secret, knowing it will turn her into a vampire, knowing she might hate him for it, but doing it anyway because he can't bear to lose her. That moment sums up the debate perfectly. Stefan's love is about saving her. Damon's is about keeping her. Neither is wrong. Both are messy. Both are human, even for vampires. And let's not forget the moment Elena finally chose. When she told Stefan, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore, it wasn't a rejection of who he was. It was an acceptance of who she'd become. She'd stopped being the girl who needed saving. She'd become the girl who could stand in the dark and Damon was the one who'd been standing there with her all along. But that doesn't make Stelena any less meaningful. Stefan's love shaped her. It taught her to believe in goodness, to fight for redemption. Without him, she wouldn't have been the woman who could love Damon unapologetically. This debate endures because love endures in all its messy, conflicting forms. We still talk about Delena versus Stelena, not because we're stuck in the past, but because those relationships taught us something about love that we still carry with us. They taught us that love isn't just one thing. It's the quiet sacrifices and the loud confessions. It's the need to save someone and the need to be saved. It's the choice to fix yourself and the choice to be loved anyway. So the next time you rewatch that first episode, when the Salvatore brothers walk into the grill and change Mystic Falls forever, ask yourself, what did you see in them? A chance at redemption? A chance at acceptance? Maybe both. And that's the beauty of it. The debate wasn't about picking a side. It was about recognizing that love is big enough to hold both. It was about remembering that even in a town full of vampires and witches, the most magical thing was how human those loves felt. That's why we're still talking about it. That's why Mystic Falls' core debate will always be everlasting. Because it's not just about two brothers and a girl. It's about us, our hopes, our fears, and the kind of love we all want to find, whether it's quiet and redemptive or loud and unapologetic. Remember when Elena Gilbert first walked into Mystic Falls High, a backpack slung over one shoulder and a faint, tired smile on her face? She was the new girl grieving her parents, the one who apologized too much, who tried to fix everyone else's problems before her own. Back then, her world was small. Homework, Bonnie's laughter, Jeremy's quiet anger, and the quiet safety of Stefan Salvatore's company. But Mystic Falls doesn't let anyone stay small. Not for long. Over the years, she lost friends, became a vampire, fought witches and travelers and the original family, and somewhere along the way, that girl who apologized for taking up space turned into someone who stood tall, fangs bared, and said, "This is who I am." Elena's choice between Stefan and Damon wasn't just a pick between two brothers. It was the sound of a girl finally deciding what she needed, not just what she thought she should want. Her evolution started with loss. When her parents died, she clung to the idea of goodness, like a lifeline, because goodness felt like control, like if she was kind enough, careful enough, she wouldn't lose anyone else. Stefan fit that perfectly. He was the boy who fought his darkness to be good, who promised to protect her from the monsters, even when he was one himself. For a while, that's exactly what she needed, someone to shield her, to let her be the vulnerable girl she still was. Remember season 1, when she sat with Stefan in the cemetery, telling him about her parents' car crash? He didn't try to fix it, he just listened, and that was enough. But then the world kept pushing. Catherine showed up, Tyler turned into a werewolf, Elena died and came back and died again, and suddenly, goodness didn't feel like safety anymore. It felt like a cage. When she became a vampire in season 4, everything shifted. For the first time, she felt alive, hungry, strong, unapologetic. But Stefan couldn't see that. He kept begging her to stay human, to drink animal blood even when it left her weak, to pretend she wasn't changing. Damon, though? He looked at her and said, "Why would you want to go back?" He didn't see a monster. He saw a girl who was finally free. He taught her to hunt, to laugh at the chaos, to stop feeling guilty for wanting more. There's a scene in season 4 where Elena, frustrated with Stefan's pressure, yells, "I'm not the same person I was." And Damon, leaning against a wall with that signature smirk, replies, "Good. The old you was boring." It wasn't mean, it was true. The old Elena had been living for everyone else. The new Elena was living for herself. That's when her desire shifted. She didn't need someone to protect her anymore. She needed someone to meet her where she was. Which brings us to the debate. Was her choice about who she should be with, or who she truly became with? Stefan was the should. He was the safe choice, the one her friends approved of, the one who fit the fairy tale she'd once believed in. But fairy tales don't account for growth. When she told Stefan, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore." In season 6, it wasn't a rejection of him. It was a rejection of the person she'd been when she loved him. She'd outgrown the need for a protector. Damon, though, he was the truly. With him, she didn't have to shrink. She could be angry and hungry and brave and messy, and he loved her for all of it. When she chose Damon, she wasn't choosing chaos over calm. She was choosing to stop apologizing for her own evolution. Of course, the audience split hard. Some cry for Stelena, mourning the loss of that innocent, soft love, the kind that feels like a warm blanket on a cold night. They saw Elena's choice as a betrayal of her good self, a turn to darkness they couldn't stomach. Others cheered for Delena because they saw themselves in her, The person who'd finally stopped trying to be who everyone else wanted, who'd chosen the love that saw them, not just the version they presented to the world. But here's the thing that makes the debate so enduring. Elena's choice was hers. It wasn't forced by a sire bond, though, that muddied the waters for a while, or by a villain's threat, or by her friends' opinions. She looked at both brothers, and she looked at herself, and she said, "This is what I need." That's agency. A rare thing for female characters in love triangles who are often written as prize to be won. Elena wasn't a prize. She was a person, making a hard, human choice. Think about the final scene of season 6, when Elena says goodbye to Stefan before going into her coma. She tells him, "You'll always be my first love. But Damon, he's my forever." It's not a diss to Stefan. It's an acceptance of how far she's come. Her first love was about survival, about clinging to goodness when the world felt dark. Her forever love was about thriving, about embracing all parts of herself, even the ones that scared her. That's why her choice matters. It's not just about which brother she picked. It's about a girl who started out lost and ended up finding herself through love, yes, but more importantly, through choosing herself. Years later, we still argue about Delena versus Stelena, not because we care about the brothers, but because we care about Elena. We see our own journeys in hers, the way we outgrow people we once loved, not because they're bad, but because we've changed. The way we learn to stop choosing should and start choosing want. The way we realize that love isn't about being saved, it's about being seen. Elena's choice wasn't perfect. It was messy and painful and real, and that's exactly why it stuck with us. Because in the end, it wasn't just a love triangle. It was a story about a girl finding her voice, and that's a story no one ever forgets.